Hi everyone, today I am going to teach you history. So, before starting the lesson, let us have an interaction with some pictures. What do we observe in the first picture? We observe that there is a famous monument which is built by Qutbuddin Aibak who belongs to medieval period, and this is known as Qutub Minar. Next picture. What do we observe in the next picture? We observe that it is also a famous monument built by Shah Jahan, a Mughal empire. Yes, so these pictures shows that about when, where and how. So this help us to learn when, where and how about our history. So our lesson name is when, where and how. First, we should be thorough with the timeline. What is timeline? A timeline is one way of depicting events of the past. The timeline above shows you at a glance a few major events that occurred over the past 1 million years. Timelines are therefore useful tools for the study of history. It is a source which helps us to know about our history. What is history? History is the study of our past. History is about what people did and how they lived in the past, about their economy, occupations, and their eating habits, about their rulers and the battles they fought. History also studies how past events have affected the lives of the people. It tries to understand and explain events of the past by examining a variety of related factors. In history, we learn how human beings have interacted with the elements of nature to create rich cultures and civilizations, and how at times nature and sometimes humans themselves have destroyed all that people have created. Now, let us know why do we learn history? Is it necessary to learn history? Why do we learn history? We learn history for many reasons. History teaches us to carefully examine and question facts about accepting them as the truth. History educates us. We can learn from mistakes made by people in the past. It does help us make better decisions in the past and for the future. A study of the past gives us a sense of identity. It teaches us who we are and who our ancestors were. We need to know our past to be able to understand our present. Thousands of people fought and gave up their lives to make India independent. We will value the freedom we now enjoy better when we know the cost at which we obtained it. For that, we need to study the past. A study of history is meant to make us more tolerant and open minded about other people and their cultures. Now, let us learn about the difference between history and the prehistory. History and prehistory. History is divided into two periods, namely prehistory and history. Prehistory is the study of events that happened before humans learned to write. Next, what is the meaning of history? History is a written account of event of the past. So the period before history is said to be known as prehistory. Next, now let us learn how time and dates play a major role in history. Usually, historians count the years forwards or backwards from the year in which Jesus Christ is believed to have been born. The period before the birth of Christ is known as BC, that is before Christ. The period after that is known as AD. The meaning of AD is Anno Domini, means in the year of our Lord. It is a Latin word. Before the birth of Christ, you count the years backward. So 2 BC comes after 4 BC. However, in the period after the birth of Christ, you count forward. So AD 2 comes before AD 4. Nowadays, most historians prefer to use the terms BCE and CE in place of BC and AD. BCE stands for before the Common Era and CE stands for Common Era. The term circa or CA in short is used when the date of an event is not known for sure. If we are not aware of the proper and particular date or year, we use the term circa. Some other terms you come across quite often in history are decade, century, and millennium. A decade is a period of 10 years, a century is a period of 100 years, and a millennium refers to a period of 1000 years. If we complete 10 years, we named it as a decade. If we complete 100 years, we named it as a century. When we complete 1000 years, we named it as a millennium. Now, let us learn about naming century, how we name the centuries. When we see an event occurred in the 12th century CE, we are naming the century. This name is different from the actual date on which the event occurred. For example, the years from 1100 CE to 1199 CE falls in the year 12th century. We say India became independent in the 20th century, though the year was 1947. This is how we name the centuries. Now, let us learn about the geographical framework. The geography of a land often has a powerful impact on its history. Geography was one of the most important factors that influenced the location of early settlements around the world. All the early civilizations, namely those of Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Indus, and China, were located in and around river valleys. The history of the Indian subcontinent has also been influenced by the physical features of the land. Now let us see the geographical feature, the geographical framework of India. First one is the Himalayas. As you can see in the map, the immensely highly ranges of Himalayas stretches across the north of India. They have acted as a barrier against invading forces from the north. However, people have traveled in and out of India freely through low-lying points called passes along the northwestern portion of the Himalayas. While many of these people were traders and travelers, invaders have also entered India through these passes. Next one is the northern plains. The northern plains lying between the Indus and the Ganga river is a vast expanse of fertile land. The land which is present in the northern plains are very fertile. The fertile nature of the plains encouraged the growth of agriculture also. This in turn led to the establishment of many powerful kingdoms and empires here like those of the Mauryas and Guptas. Because of the fertile land, many kingdoms occupied the northern plains, such as Mauryas and Guptas. Even oceans and seas plays a major role as a geographical framework. The seas that surround India on three sides have protected peninsular India from attacks. The long coastline with its natural ports and harbors has also encouraged trade for thousands of years with distance like Rome, Mesopotamia. Present it is known as Iraq. Egypt, and Southeast Asia, the kingdoms of South India were able to develop strong navies and establish overseas colonies in Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka the seas, due to the oceans and seas. Next one is our the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau is separated from northern India by the Satpura and Vindhya mountain ranges. This isolation enabled the growth of several regional kingdoms here, like those of the Cholas, the Chalukyas, and the Rashtrakutas. So the powerful kingdoms like Cholas, the Chalukyas, and the Rashtrakutas, they occupied the area of Deccan Plateau. Now, Indian deserts, Western Ghats, and Eastern Ghats also played a very important role. It also plays very important role at present also. Now let us study about the sources for the study of history. The main sources of information for prehistory, that is the time before humans learned to write, is archaeology. History, on the other hand, is largely studied from written sources such as manuscripts, inscriptions, coins, seals. Monuments are also an important source of information for historians, but archaeology is the main source for the study of prehistory. So, first one is archaeology. Archaeology is the study of the remains of human life in the past. Archaeologists carefully excavate, means dig up places where ancient people lived. They collect and examine human made objects like tools, ornaments, weapons, toys, and pottery. Such human made objects found at archaeological sites are called artifacts. Artifacts provide vital clues to how people lived in the past. Often, these sites also contain human and animal bones and the seeds and remains of plants. By studying such remains, carefully, archaeologists can tell us what the people ate, what occupations they followed, with whom they traded, what gods they worshipped, how they dressed, and how they treated their dead. This is what about the archaeology, as you can observe in the picture also. Next one is manuscript. Manuscripts are an important source of information for historians. Manuscripts are documents that have been written by hand. Originally, they were written on stone or clay tablets. In India, early manuscripts were written on the dried bark of trees, thinly beaten copper plates, and dried palm leaves also. Later, around the 18th century CE, in the Middle East and Europe, people started writing on parchment. Parchment, in the sense, the dried skin of goats or sheep. Paper became a popular medium for manuscripts only after the 15th century CE. In India, manuscripts were usually written in Sanskrit, Prakrit, or Pali. Tamil was one of the language used in South India. All written sources of ancient Indian history are basically of three types. That is, this is what written sources of ancient Indian history. All written sources of Indian history are basically of three types. That is religious literature, secular literature, travelers account. First one, religious literature, like the Vedas, the Ramayanas, and the Tripitakas, provide a wealth of knowledge about India's ancient past. By studying these books, historians are able to understand the nature of society, religion, and politics at that time. The Vedas gave historians information about a period in history about which nothing was known, the coming of the Aryans to India around 1500 BCE. This is what about the religious literature. Now, second one is secular literature. Secular literature refers to writings on subjects other than religion like politics, grammar, medicines, and law, such as biographies like Harshacharita by Bana Bhatta, written in the 18th century CE, give us an insight into the social, economic, and political conditions during the reign of Harsha, one of the famous kings of ancient India. Next one is the Arthashastra by Kautilya, written in the 14th century BC, is a treatise or manual on government, economic policy, and military strategy. Third one is travelers' account. Account left by travelers are also an important source of information for historians. People from different parts of the world have visited India at various times. Yun Sang visited India during the rule of Harsha in the 7th century BC CE. 7th century CE. The account he left behind is an accurate description of Central and South Asia during that time. Megasthenes, a Greek ambassador to the court of the Mauryan king Chandragupta, wrote a detailed description of Mauryan rule in his book Indica. These writings were especially precious as there are very few written sources of information for this period of an Indian history. This is all about the traveler's account. This is what about the written sources of ancient Indian history. Now, next one is inscriptions. Inscriptions are words written or engraved on rocks, pillars, and the walls of temples, palaces, forts, etc. They tell us about the victories of rulers in battle or donations made by people or rulers to temples and other places of worship. Some inscriptions contain messages from rulers to their subjects. The process of reading and understanding the script used in the inscription is known as decipherment, and the study of inscription is known as epigraphy. Some of the most famous inscriptions of Indian history are the edicts of Emperor Ashoka carved into caves, iron pillars, and rocks. They are found all over the world. This is what about the inscriptions. Next one is coins and seals. Coins were issued by the Coins and seals are an important sources of information for historians. Coins were issued by the ruler of a country to enable people to buy goods and services. Often, the name of the king and the year in which the coin was issued were engraved on the coin. Some coins also had battle scenes, faces of kings and queens, or scenes from the life of the ruler engraved on them. Coins were made of different metals like gold, silver, copper, etc. The study of coins is known as numismatics. Historians use the information found on coins to countercheck facts. Seals like those found at Indus Valley Civilization sites often show animals and figures of gods. They also contain inscriptions from which archaeologists can get information if deciphered. So, this is what about the sources of history. Thank you.